Sports parents, what are you doing in 2026 to better support your young athlete? In today's video, I'm going to give you things you should stop doing, keep doing, and start doing to have a better year in 2026 for you, your family, and the young athlete in your life. So I'll start with a quick story because I know if you're here, you're well-meaning, but there still might be things that maybe you have a blind spot about that is actually counterproductive or putting more pressure on your kid. So back when I had my baseball academy, there was this father and his son, real bright-eyed young pitcher, and he would do pitching lessons with me and did our strength training program. And his dad always stayed and sat, in the parent area where he could watch. And he was always very, very involved. And a lot of times giving his son advice while he was in a pitching lesson with me. And his son would be, looking at Coach Dan and then also looking over at his dad for guidance. And finally, I just had enough of this. This is not how I can work. No coach can really work while there's a parent, coaching their kid. And so I finally had the hard conversation with this parent. I was still relatively young in my coaching career. I was like 26 or 27. So it was not an easy conversation to have. And I said, look, your son works really hard. I really enjoy working with him. He's a great kid. He does his homework that I assigned to him. I said, but I think it's counterproductive that you're over there coaching him at the same time, and he really can't focus on me, and it's difficult for me to work that way at the same time. I've had that conversation with a number of parents over different years, and a lot of times, unfortunately, that parent takes their business elsewhere because they don't like not being in control. In this instance, this father was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I was doing it. I just want to support him so much I'm so sorry. And he honestly did a 180, and he was a huge cheerleader for his son throughout the next 5-6 years that he was in our academy because he was still a regular, but he was never over the line again. And it took me intervening and have that hard conversation and him really internalizing it and being thoughtful about his own actions rather than just having this reaction of like, how dare you criticize, the way I'm handling this. And I really applauded him for doing that because his son now got to come and work hard, which he already was, and not feel like he was falling short of his dad's expectations or that his attention was diverted. He could just come do his pitching lesson, do his strength training session, enjoy it. And then his dad was ready to put his arm around him and say, hey, great job. You worked so hard. I'm so proud of you. So I've seen this go all the different ways. And that was a good example of a parent who didn't realize that he was being too intrusive and maybe putting pressure and causing a negative rift between his son and me and making it difficult for both of us to get the most out of our coaching situation. So in 2026, I want to give you things to stop doing, start doing, and keep doing. This is important for you as a parent because you probably do a lot of things that are really positive for your kid now. You probably do some things that are negative, and there's probably some things you can fold in to the way you support your son or daughter on the sports field. Let's start with things that you should keep doing. And I recommend asking someone else in your life who knows you really well in the sports parent context for help on this. You could text your bleacher buddy, the mom down the street or the other father you hang out with all the time. Be like, hey, would you mind helping me with this exercise? What are some things that I do well that I should keep doing in 2026? I know you probably won't do that, but you should consider it. Things on this list could include making yourself available to your kid anytime they want to go practice. If they say, hey, will you go shoot hoops with me? Will you go play catch with me? Will you kick the soccer ball around? It's awesome to be the parent that never says no. My dad passed away last year, and I still think about that. He never said no. He always made himself available. And as a 40-year-old man now, it's still a really special memory of him. Also, your conduct in the bleachers. Maybe you're really positive in the bleachers. You cheer everyone on the team on. You're really supportive of the coaches. You're really kind to referees and umpires and try to keep that culture to be positive, even when bad calls go against your team. Those are good things to keep on with and to pat yourself on the back about being a culture keeper in a positive way for the sport that you're, part of. Next, what are 3 things you should stop doing as a sports parent in 2026? Maybe you yell at the umpires. Maybe you get mad at the referees during the game when calls don't go your kid's way. Or maybe on the car ride home, you tend to blame the coaches or you tend to blame your kid's teammates for their bad performance or the team loss. Those are definitely things to stop doing because your kid's going to grow up to be someone who doesn't take accountability for their own actions. It's true that sometimes your teammates made a mistake and cost us the game, but it's a team sport and we learn to win and lose as a team, and it helps no one to push the blame to someone else, right? Maybe you put a little too much pressure, even though you're positive on your kid from the bleachers, like too much coaching from the bleachers. Or, and this is a common one, maybe you're so focused on your kid reaching their long-term goals and you've really roadmapped it out and helped them stay accountable that they actually start to feel like it's more of a job. And they feel a lot of pressure to meet your expectations. And maybe they're actually not as gung-ho on reaching these long-term goals as you've become to help them reach them. Or maybe you've made too many sacrifices as a parent and it's causing some unhappiness in your life or your marriage or both because every weekend you're away or too much money has been funneled into youth sports. This is a common problem too. Like, you deserve the life you want just the same as your kid, and you have to find a balance. Maybe in 2026, you need to find a better balance for your entire family, not just your son who plays travel baseball or your daughter who plays travel volleyball or whatever the sport might be. Maybe 2026 is your year to say, we are all going to find happiness and we've all got to work together to do that. So think about things you want to stop doing as a sports parent in 2026. And last, as a sports parent, think about things you're going to start doing in 2026. Maybe there's another parent who's just really, really encouraging no matter what happens, and you're not quite there, and you want to be a little bit more like Tina or Mark, who just are the team cheerleader in the bleachers. Maybe you want to reduce your workloads, that you can go hit with your kid in the batting cage or shoot hoops with them in the backyard a little more often, but work has been really a bear, and you need to try to find some balance in this next year. Or maybe you want to build a skill in 2026. Like I mentioned in other videos, that moms should feel empowered to go throw batting practice to your son. Even if you don't throw the best BP or you didn't grow up playing baseball or softball and your throwing arm isn't great, there are lots of different techniques that I shared in a batting practice video that you can easily learn even if you don't have a great throwing arm. And then you can go be in the batting cage with your kid and help them practice and have that quality time together. Think of ideas of things you might see other parents do to support their kids that are really positive and healthy that you want to start doing in 2026. So hopefully this video is helpful. If you have any questions or want further ideas, leave them in a comment below. I read pretty much all my comments and I reply to many of them. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great 2026. I know I'm going to make some changes into my social media presence, to content that I'm creating, all that sort of stuff. So I think it's healthy for everyone to have a checkup and just get some ideas flowing. And that was the point of this video here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you here in the next one. Real quick, click the join button below and you'll learn about my channel memberships. If you become a channel member today, you'll get access to hundreds of non-public videos hosted right here on my channel on YouTube. This is the best way for you to support my work here for the global baseball community and get more content to help you with your game.